My girlfriend claimed she was flying out for an important work conference. I didn't stop her or ask questions. I just waited at the airport, standing beside her strict parents. When she walked out laughing, hand in hand with her ex, her parents cut ties instantly. I didn't say a word. I just handed her a box of her belongings and walked away. Original post. I, 29 male, had been with Emma, 27, for 3 years. We met at a charity fundraiser where I was volunteering as event staff and she was attending as a guest with her marketing firm. She was charming, funny, and had this effortless way of making everyone around her feel special. We hit it off immediately, exchanged numbers, and started dating within a week. The first 2 years were genuinely great. Emma worked as a marketing coordinator for a mid-sized advertising agency downtown, and I was a paramedic with the city fire department. Our schedules were chaotic. I worked 24-hour shifts, and she had unpredictable deadlines and client meetings, but we made it work. We'd leave notes for each other, send random texts during the day, and always made sure to carve out quality time on our days off. Emma came from a traditional, close-knit family. Her parents, Richard and Catherine, were both retired teachers who'd been married for 35 years. They were kind, but had very clear values about relationships, honesty, and respect. They'd welcome me into their family almost immediately, inviting me to Sunday dinners, holiday gatherings, and family events. Richard even helped me work on my truck one weekend, teaching me how to rebuild a carburetor while sharing stories about raising Emma and her younger brother. Catherine would send me home with leftovers after every dinner, always making sure to include extra portions of whatever Emma's favorite dish had been that week. "You take care of our girl," she'd say, patting my arm warmly. "We're so glad she found someone like you." I loved her parents. They were genuine, warm people who treated me like family. Emma always seemed slightly embarrassed by how traditional they were. She'd roll her eyes when her dad asked about my intentions, or when her mom insisted we say grace before meals, but I appreciated their values. It felt stable, solid, real. Things started changing about 6 months ago. Emma became distant, spending more time on her phone, staying late at work more frequently, and being vague about her plans. When I'd ask about her day, she'd give one-word answers or change the subject. The warmth between us started feeling forced, like she was going through the motions. Then there were the little lies. Small ones at first, saying she was at her friend Madison's apartment when I'd later find out she'd been somewhere else, claiming she had to work Saturday when her coworker mentioned the office had been closed. Nothing massive, but enough to make me uneasy. I didn't want to be that guy who snooped or interrogated his girlfriend, so I tried to communicate. "Emma, is everything okay with us? You seem distant." "I'm just stressed with work, Kevin. There's a lot going on right now. Do you want to talk about it?" "Not really. I just need space to deal with it." Space. That word kept coming up more and more. About 2 months ago, I noticed she'd been texting someone saved in her phone as Jason, work. The name appeared constantly, multiple times a day, late at night, early in the morning. When I casually asked who Jason from work was, Emma barely looked up from her phone. "Just a new senior account manager. He's leading a big project I'm assigned to. You text him a lot." "It's work stuff, Kevin. Relax." But she turned her phone face down after that, and I noticed she started taking calls in the other room or stepping outside when her phone rang. I tried to push my suspicions aside. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe work really was stressful. But something felt wrong. 3 weeks ago, Emma announced she had to fly to Miami for an important work conference. "It's a 3-day marketing summit," she explained, showing me the dates on her phone's calendar. "My boss wants me to network with potential clients and attend some workshops. It's a big opportunity." "That's great," I said, trying to sound supportive despite my unease. "When do you leave?" "Friday morning. I'll be back Monday afternoon. Do you want me to drive you to the airport?" "No, that's okay. I'm taking an Uber early, like 5 a.m. You're working Thursday night anyway, so you'll be exhausted. No point in you losing sleep." It was considerate, thoughtful even. But something about how quickly she declined my offer bothered me. Over the next few days, I watched Emma pack. She brought outfits I'd never seen her wear to actual work conferences. A red dress that she'd bought for our anniversary dinner, strappy heels, her expensive jewelry. When I mentioned it seemed like a lot for a work event, she laughed it off. "It's Miami, Kevin. Everyone dresses up. I can't show up looking like I just rolled out of bed." Thursday night, I worked my shift at the fire station. We had a quiet night, just 2 medical calls and a false alarm. I should have been tired, but I couldn't stop thinking about Emma's trip. Something felt wrong, and I couldn't shake it. At 3 a.m., sitting in the station's break room, I did something I'd never done before. I opened Emma's laptop. She'd left it at my apartment the previous week, and checked her email. I felt guilty even as I was doing it, but the nagging feeling wouldn't go away. Her inbox was mostly work emails and spam, but then I saw it. A confirmation for 2 round-trip tickets to Cancun, Mexico, not Miami. The tickets were in Emma's name and someone named Jason Reeves. The departure was Friday morning at 7 a.m. The return was Monday afternoon. My stomach dropped. I checked further and found hotel reservations at a beachfront resort. 1 room, king bed, ocean view. There were emails between Emma and Jason discussing the trip, calling it our weekend away, and finally getting time alone. I sat there staring at the screen, feeling like I'd been punched in the chest. 3 years together, and she was flying to Mexico with another man while lying to me about a work conference. I could have confronted her right then. I could have called, texted, demanded answers. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the betrayal, maybe it was anger, but I decided I wanted proof. Undeniable, public proof. I called Richard. It was 3:30 in the morning, but he answered on the 4th ring, his voice thick with sleep and concern. Kevin, what's wrong? Is Emma okay? Richard, I need to tell you something, and I need you to trust me. I explained everything. The distance, the lies, the text messages, the laptop, the tickets to Cancun with Jason. I told him Emma was supposed to leave in a few hours, and I wanted him and Catherine to meet me at the airport. There was a long silence on the other end. When Richard finally spoke, his voice was hard, colder than I'd ever heard it. What time? Flight leaves at 7. I'm thinking we get there around 7:30, wait at arrivals. She'll think she's gotten away with it. We'll be there. I spent the rest of my shift in a fog, going through the motions. When I got off at 7 a.m., I went home, showered, and packed a box with Emma's belongings. Clothes she'd left at my apartment, her toothbrush, some books, framed photos of us that I couldn't stand looking at anymore. Then I drove to the airport. Richard and Catherine were waiting in the arrivals area, both looking exhausted and devastated. Catherine's eyes were red. She'd clearly been crying. Richard's jaw was set, his arms crossed, radiating controlled fury. Kevin, Catherine said softly, hugging me. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry too. I know this isn't how you wanted to find out about your daughter. Our daughter lied to us too, Richard said flatly. She told us she was going to Miami for work. She asked her mother to water her apartment plants while she was gone. She looked us in the eye and lied. We didn't talk much after that. We just waited, standing near the arrivals exit, watching passengers stream out from various flights. I checked my phone. Emma's flight from Cancun had landed 20 minutes ago. She'd be coming through any moment. And then I saw her. Emma walked through the automatic doors wearing sunglasses, a bright sundress, and a genuine smile, the kind of carefree, happy smile I hadn't seen from her in months. She was laughing at something, her head thrown back, completely unguarded. She was holding hands with a tall guy in his early 30s, athletic build, designer clothes, carrying a backpack and pulling a suitcase. Jason, presumably. He was grinning, saying something that made Emma laugh harder, and they looked like any happy couple returning from a romantic vacation. They were 10 feet away when Emma noticed us. Her smile died instantly. The color drained from her face. She dropped Jason's hand like it had burned her and froze, her mouth opening and closing without sound. Jason noticed her reaction and followed her gaze, his confident expression faltering when he saw 3 people staring at them with varying expressions of anger and disappointment. Mom? Dad? Emma's voice was barely a whisper. Kevin? What are you doing here? Catherine spoke first, her voice shaking. We're here because Kevin called us at 3:30 this morning and told us our daughter, who we raised to be honest and kind, was lying to everyone she supposedly loved. Mom, I can explain. Explain what? Richard's voice was like ice. Explain how you lied to us about a work conference? Explain how you betrayed a man who loves you? Explain who this is. He gestured sharply at Jason, who looked like he wanted to disappear. Emma looked at me desperately. Kevin, please, it's not what it looks like. I'd imagined this moment for hours, rehearsed what I might say, how I might react. But standing there, looking at the woman I'd planned a future with, I realized I didn't have anything to say to her. She'd already said everything that mattered through her actions. I picked up the box I'd set down and held it out to her. "What's this?" she asked. "Your stuff. From my apartment." "Kevin, please, let me explain. It just happened. We didn't plan. You bought tickets 2 months ago. You booked a hotel. You packed your anniversary dress." My voice was calm, emotionless. "You planned it." Jason cleared his throat. "Look, man, I didn't know she had a boyfriend. She told me she was single that." "Shut up, Jason," Emma snapped, then immediately looked back at me. "Kevin, I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking clearly. I've been confused about us, about what I want, and Jason was just—" "I don't care," I interrupted. "I genuinely don't care about your reasons or excuses. We're done. That's it." I pushed the box into her arms and turned to her parents. "Richard, Catherine, I'm sorry you had to see this. You deserved better than finding out this way." Catherine was crying openly now. "You have nothing to apologize for, Kevin. Nothing." Richard stepped toward Emma, and she actually flinched. He didn't yell, didn't raise his voice. He just spoke with quiet, absolute finality. "You're not welcome at Sunday dinners anymore. You're not welcome at family holidays. You lied to your mother and me. You betrayed a good man who treated you with nothing but respect, and you did it with a smile on your face." He shook his head. "I don't know who you've become, but she's not the daughter we raised." "Daddy, please." Emma was sobbing now, the box shaking in her arms. "We're done here." Richard took Catherine's hand. "Kevin, would you like to join us for breakfast? I think we could all use some coffee." "I'd like that," I said. We walked away together, leaving Emma standing in the airport arrivals area, crying, with Jason awkwardly hovering beside her and the box of her belongings clutched to her chest. I didn't look back. Richard, Catherine, and I went to a diner near the airport. We ordered coffee and breakfast none of us really wanted, and we sat there processing what had just happened. "I can't believe she did this," Catherine said, stirring her coffee absently. "I keep thinking maybe we missed signs, maybe we didn't teach her better, but—" "You taught her perfectly," I said. "She knew right from wrong. She just chose wrong." "How long do you think this was going on?" Richard asked. "Based on the texts I saw, at least 2 months, maybe longer." I took a sip of coffee. "Honestly, it doesn't matter. Whether it was 2 months or 2 weeks, she lied and cheated. That's all I need to know." We talked for over an hour, about Emma, about relationships, about disappointment, and moving forward. Richard and Catherine apologized repeatedly, as if their daughter's choices were somehow their fault. I assured them they weren't, that they'd done everything right, and sometimes people just make bad decisions. When we finally parted ways in the parking lot, Catherine hugged me tightly. "You're a good man, Kevin. Don't let this make you cynical. There's someone out there who'll appreciate what a rare thing that is." "Thank you, Catherine." Richard shook my hand firmly. "You're still family to us, regardless of Emma's choices. You need anything, you call us." "Understood. Understood." I drove home feeling simultaneously empty and relieved. My phone had 14 missed calls and twice as many texts from Emma, but I didn't read them. I blocked her number, blocked her on social media, and deleted every photo of us from my phone. I heard through mutual friends that Emma tried desperately to contact her parents for weeks after the airport confrontation. They didn't answer her calls, didn't respond to her messages, didn't acknowledge her attempts at reconciliation. Richard and Catherine had meant what they said. She wasn't welcome anymore. Emma and Jason's relationship apparently fell apart within a month. According to Madison, who reached out to apologize for not telling me about the affair sooner, Jason had indeed thought Emma was single. When he found out the truth and saw the airport confrontation, he felt betrayed and manipulated. He broke things off immediately. Emma ended up alone, having lost her boyfriend, her relationship with her parents, and several friends who sided with me once they knew the truth. She eventually left town for a job opportunity in another state, a fresh start away from the wreckage of her choices. As for me, I took some time to focus on myself. I threw myself into work, spent more time with my own family and friends, and eventually started dating again. It took a while to trust someone new, but Catherine was right. There are good people out there. 6 months after the airport incident, I ran into Richard and Catherine at a grocery store. We had coffee afterward, catching up on life. They asked about my new relationship, and I showed them photos of Lisa, my girlfriend of 3 months. Catherine smiled warmly. "She looks lovely, Kevin. We're happy for you." "Thank you. That means a lot." "Have you heard from Emma at all?" Richard asked, and I could tell he was asking more out of curiosity than hope for reconciliation. No, I blocked her everywhere. As far as I know, she's in Seattle now. Richard nodded. She sent a letter last month. A long apology, explaining she's in therapy, that she understands what she did was wrong, that she hopes one day we can forgive her. Did you respond? No, Catherine said quietly. Maybe one day we'll be ready to have that conversation, but not yet. The wound is still too fresh. I understood that. Some betrayals cut so deep that forgiveness, if it comes at all, takes years, not months. Looking back, I'm grateful I trusted my instincts that night at the fire station. I could have confronted Emma privately, let her manipulate the narrative, maybe even convince me to give her another chance. Instead, I chose public accountability, not out of cruelty, but out of a need for truth. Emma thought she could have it both ways. She thought she could lie to everyone, run off with Jason, and come home to her normal life with nobody being the wiser. She thought she was clever enough to pull it off. She was wrong. When she walked out of that airport laughing and holding Jason's hand, she walked straight into the consequences of her choices. Her strict parents, who valued honesty and family above everything, cut ties instantly. I didn't have to make dramatic speeches or humiliate her publicly. I just handed her a box of her belongings and walked away. Sometimes the strongest revenge isn't dramatic confrontation or elaborate schemes. Sometimes it's just letting someone face the natural consequences of their actions while you quietly remove yourself from their life. Emma lost everything that mattered that day. Her family, her relationship, her reputation, her sense of being the good daughter who did everything right. And I walked away with my dignity intact, ready to build a life with someone who actually deserved my trust. In the end, that was enough.